In most cases, if LeanData attempts to assign records to users outside of their standard working hours, you might want to find an alternative or a backup user to assign the record to. But what if you prefer to have LeanData hold on to the record until the intended recipient's working hours begin, and then proceed with the assignment? Here's a way that you can do this in LeanData using the hold until node and a placeholder user or queue. So let's jump into LeanData. Let's take a look at a graph here. So we have a typical graph, and let's say at some point in this graph, we would like to assign records to a North America round robin pool. We do want to check the user's schedules within this round robin pool. However, instead of assigning to a backup user if the intended recipient is not available, let's say we want to check to see if it is currently within the North America working hours timeframe, and if it is, we want to go ahead and make the assignment. But if it's not, rather than assigning to a backup or another user, we would like to hold that record until the North America working hours begin. So to set this up, let's take a look at our working hours. We'll jump over to the main LeanData dashboard UI. And from here, we'll go down to People, and then Settings, and then Schedules. Now on this page, under the Working Hours tab, that's where you'll configure these working hours. And you can see here that I have already created and configured a set of North America working hours. And this is the set of working hours that we'll use for our scenario here. So next, we'll jump over to the Users page, which is under the People section of the sidebar. And here we want to assign that set of North America working hours to some placeholder user. Now, this user should not be a user who would otherwise receive these records, but they should clearly and obviously be a temporary placeholder user as to not introduce any confusion. This user will only be the owner of this record while LeanData is waiting for the North America working hours to begin. So an admin user would work, or if you're using this for lead router, you can use a queue for this purpose as well. If you're setting this up for any other object that does not support queues, using a placeholder like an admin works just fine. Now, in our case, I'll be setting this up for our lead router, so I can use a queue here. And you can see a list of all the queues that I have in my Salesforce instance. And you can see down here, I've already created a round robin placeholder queue. Now, currently, this one is set to have 24/7 working hours. But what I need to do is assign the North America working hours to this placeholder queue. So I'll go ahead and I'll select that. Next, I'll jump over to Schedule, and then under the Working Hours dropdown, I'll select North America, and then I will save the user. So this will ensure that the North America working hours are assigned to this placeholder queue. Now let's go ahead and jump back into our Flow Builder graph. And if we go to this territory branch node, and we follow the North America branch, what we want to do is insert first an assignment to that placeholder queue. This will ensure that the lead record will be owned by a user or queue that has our desired working hours assigned to it. So I'll disconnect this North America branch, and I'll go to my node bar, and I'll pull in an assign record node, and we will have our North America branch proceed into this assign record node. Now, opening this assign record node, we want to find the queue or placeholder user that has the working hours that we want to check for. So in our case, it's that placeholder round robin queue. So we'll select that. Now, this is a critical step. It's very important to leave the respect user schedule box unchecked because we need to be able to complete the assignment to this queue regardless of what time it is. We need the owner of the record to be someone with the proper working hours, regardless of whether the assignment is happening at the time of working hours. So we will leave this respect user schedule box unchecked, and let's rename this node. We'll call this assign to placeholder queue North America hours. Okay. Then we'll go down to advanced settings and we'll ensure our next node edge is open, and then we'll click done. Next, we need this record to enter a hold until node. So I'll go to the node bar and drag in a hold until node, and then we'll have our path proceed into that hold until node. And opening this hold until node, let's configure this. For the expiration time, we'll use the smallest time frame possible, which is going to be 5 minutes. And this is also a critical step. We must check the evaluate while the user is working box. This will ensure that the 5 minutes will only elapse, and therefore the time frame can only expire and release a record during our intended working hours. Then we need to direct to the time expired edge. So we'll point that into our intended assignment node, which in our case is that original North America round robin pool. Now let's go ahead and rename this node. Let's just call it hold until working hours, and then we'll click done. Okay, so let's recap. Once we hit our territory branch here, if the record is a North America record, we will proceed to assign that record to a placeholder queue, which has the North America hours applied to it. That record will then proceed into our hold until working hours node, where we have the evaluate while user is working box checked. If the record enters this node during the North America working hours, that 5 minutes will elapse and the hold until node will release the record and it will progress into our round robin assignment. If the record enters this node outside of our North America working hours, the 5 minutes will not elapse and LeanData will simply hold on to the record in the hold until node until the North America hours actually start. And once these hours start, those 5 minutes will elapse, and then the hold until node will release that record and it will proceed into the North America round robin node and get assigned accordingly. So this is a way to ensure that LeanData can hold on to records until a specific set of working hours begins, and then release that record to the intended owner at that time. Well, I hope that helps.